So here are my 3 hottest takes for the High Isle chapter. Hey guys, it's Dan, and welcome back to Unified Gaming. So this video has been inspired by Isth3reno1else. He has set a challenge, and here I am, else. If you're watching, I'm rising to the challenge. He has asked every content creator, streamer, YouTuber, you name it, to come out and say their 3 hottest, their spiciest, their juiciest takes that people are going to go, what on earth? That is not going to happen. And so here I am, rising to the challenge, and I'd love to know if I'm right or wrong at the end of this chapter. And as I said, go check out Else's video because he's got some really good takes and mine are different, so do stick for that. If you do like these videos as well, make sure that you do comment, and you are subscribed for future content. And a big thanks to all the people on Patreon who help make these videos possible. So here are my takes and kind of why I'm doing it. Long story short, I haven't done a PTS review, so this is why I'm doing it. There are 3 key things in my opinion that are going to be really controversial, and I think people are going to go, what on earth? So number 3, cloak. Cloak has got changed finally, and cloak in the past when it was first released used to basically make you invisible and remove all dots, and was just really good. They went, look, that's broken, dot removal, that shouldn't be a thing. They took it away. They then tried to take it away, and it didn't work. Basically, people would use a dot, it would pull them out of stealth, it just didn't work. So they then said, you know what, let's just leave that. If you get hit with a dot, it does no damage, but it's not going to purge it, so it's really weird. Years later to where we are now, you get hit with a dot in the last patch, you then hit cloak, you take no damage. In the High Isle chapter, if you are a Nightblade and someone hits you with a dot and you push cloak, you will take that damage now if it's single target or AoE. And it won't pull you out of stealth. So I know some people are going to go, oh, what about being pulled out of stealth? It doesn't do that, I have checked. But you do take the damage. So what does this actually mean? Well, in PvP, if you get hit with Engulfing Flames, you're fighting a Magicka class and they hit you with elemental attacks. You normally get dots on you and they do damage, and there's not much. But when you add it up, it's like thousands of health over a couple seconds. And as a Nightblade, you've never had to worry about this. So I think, and this is going to be my take, that people are going to go to the forums, the Nightblades of the world, as you can tell, and they're going to moan and moan and moan and complain and do all sorts of things. And Zos are going to ignore it. Like Zos are going to go, yep, no, that's not a thing anymore. And so I think that's going to be a really big change for PvP. And I think a lot of Nightblades are going to really struggle with that. I've been playing on PCEU, as I've said, and honestly, it's so funny when you hit somebody with a Dawnbreaker and they cloak away going, oh yes, I'm going to survive. And they're cloaking, and then you're like, oh, you get a kill, you get AP come to your sheet. You're like, yes, I didn't do anything. The dot just killed them because they didn't heal. They are so used to relying on cloak for just removing dot damage, and that's not a thing. So I think that is a great change, but I know loads of people are moaning. Within 3 days of the chapter being out, I've seen posts on the forums, on Facebook, people in my Discord going, why is cloak broken? Why is it bugged? I'm now taking dot damage. So I think that's going to be quite controversial, but I think it's a good change, and I don't think Zos are going to revert it. Number 2, and this is kind of I'd say it's a hot take. It's not spicy, but it's a hot take, okay? Snipers are going to make a return once more in Cyrodiil and especially in Battlegrounds, but not how you think. I know lots of people are going to go, the Oakensoul ring, it's amazing, it's going to fix snipers, and the answer is no. In short, is no. I've tested it, I don't think it's going to work. Snipers on Nightblades are just not a thing anymore. You have to use proc sets, you have to do damage over time. You can't that burst, that that 100 to 0 combo that you used to do. Lethal arrow, 17k tooltip, or 70k hit somebody, it's like glorious. It would, it put tears in your eyes, it was so magical. You don't get that. It's like 8k, 10,000, 12,000 if you're lucky. And people have 30,000 health. And no matter how much damage you stack, you just can't get the damage up anymore on a Nightblade. So I don't think snipers are going to be working on Nightblades anymore. That said, I think the new sniper is going to be a sorcerer. And a lot of people are going to go, oh yeah, last patch they were around, and hear me out. I've been using a Stamstalk sniper for over a year, And if you don't believe me, there's a video on the channel. When they first changed Crystal Weapon, I would jump straight on that because I was like, this is busted as hell. Crystal Weapon, Snipe, Magnum Shot, all lands at once, stupid damage. Like, why wouldn't you do it? Well, Zos and the Infinite Wisdom have now decided to buff Crystal Weapon once more. So my take is this. Snipers are gonna return, but they're gonna be sorcerers. They're gonna be very, very just dominant in battlegrounds. And in Cyrodiil, you're gonna see more and more of them because their kit is perfect for kiting and for just doing that in and out, escape, hit and run playstyle that Nightblades used to do. So that's what I think. And you're probably gonna go, what's the change then? Crystal Weapon, in short, you cast it, it's like Elemental Weapon, you do a light attack, the damage goes off. You can't stack it with Elemental Weapon, by the way, or Crushing Weapon, they've made that sure that's not a thing, and it doesn't work with Overload, I don't think. Anyway, you'd have 3 seconds with it. The big change now is one cast gives you 2 uses of that for 6 seconds. So what you can do is do Crystal Weapon, cast Lethal Arrow, Light Attack, skill of choice, Snipe hits, Crystal Weapon procs, other skill hits, and then you can then do another light attack, another skill. So for example, on a sorcerer, what I would be doing is Crystal Weapon, Lethal Arrow, Light Attack, Magnum Shot, Light Attack, Poison Injection. This will hit the target, proc Crystal Weapon once, stun them, proc it again, Poison Injection, execute. This will do an insane amount of damage with sets like Savage Werewolf, where the fire, you know, if they don't die, they have so much dot damage to follow up. It's going to be really hard for them to recover. And your Crystal Weapon's doing 10 to 15k tooltips. Like, it's hitting very, very hard. So I think that's going to be a big, big, big thing in PvP going forward. And of course, for the survivability, you have Streak, Ball of Lightning. You got Dark Deal or Dark Exchange for Sustain. So yeah, they got everything you need for that playstyle. And then for the number 1 take, the spiciest, the most controversial take is this. It's the Oakensoul ring. And of course, everybody's going to go, yeah, it needs nerfing. I don't think it does. I really don't. I know a lot of people are going to go, but the ring is so broke. It gives you major heroism, major force, major courage, major this, major that. It gives you stuff that doesn't even exist. It's so good. It's not like that. The ring is very, very good. I'm not denying that for a moment. But my take is this. They're not going to nerf it this chapter. They're going to wait patiently, biding their time, letting people buy the chapter for the ring. Money, money, money. And then, when they come to the next chapter, they're going to change the ultimates that are overperforming. That's my take on that. So, why do I think the ultimates and not the ring itself? Well, the ring itself, basically, when you build a PvP character, and this is mainly from a PvP standpoint, you need a certain number of skills in order to be viable. And if you don't fulfill these kind of categories, your build's going to struggle in some capacity. In short, you need the following. You need a spammable, you need a burst skill, you need an execute or dot. You then need your damage buff, your armor buff, a burst heal, which could be a shield if you don't have a burst heal, a heal over time, a mobility skill such as shuffle or streak. And they're kind of just the ones that just really jump out at you. You can have more nuanced things, so things like sustain buffs that you probably generally want. You might have passive damage buffs like Camo Hunter. So when you go through all of this sort of stuff, you actually really sit down and think about it. There's 10 kind of categories that you need to cover in PvP. Some skills double dip, some skills will do both, like Rally will give you the damage and the heal, but not all classes can use that. So I think this. Because of all those factors, when you actually build a PvP character, you go, well, I want to have damage, burst, execute, heal over time, burst skill, sorry, movement skill. That's 6 skills there already. You got 5 slots. You just can't get all those things in. You have to sacrifice something. And that's why I don't think the ring is overpowered. You then also have the top on the fact that you typically lose DPS in PvE. So if you use this, because you don't have those back bar dots, you need those bonus buffs like major courage and major heroism to give your DPS that little bit of a nudge to be more competitive. The 2-bar builds are still outperforming single bar builds, but this is just making it much more closer. So I don't think they're going to nerf this massively, if at all, because it's brand new. People are paying a lot of money for this ring, to be honest. The chapter for PvP players is the rings. That's literally it. So I don't think they're going to change this. I think instead they're going to look at the strong synergy between this ring and certain classes and then go after their ultimates, because that's where they're becoming really potent. So I think that things like corrosive armor, and I think they're going to reduce corrosive from 12 seconds to maybe 10, maybe 8, or they might change the damage reduction from like 3% max damage taken to you get an extra 10,000 armor, something like that, to kind of just make that defense not so OP. And then with the offensive side, make it maybe that anybody that gets hit with the corrosive dot then gets the penetration, so you can't use this at range on gank builds. So yeah, you can get this up 100% if you want. And you're probably going to go, how? It's really simple. Oakensoul ring, decisive on a weapon, blessing of potentes, bloodspawn, and an ult set of your choice, like werewolf hide, dragon, so a Veery dragon guard I think it's called. Or you can just go a damage set and you're pretty much at 80% with a damage set, or 100% with another set like werewolf hide. Go imperial to reduce the ultimate further and you're at 100%. Like it doesn't, you don't need to worry about it, you're already there. So for me it's really easy to get that 100% uptime, and of course in PvE that's what I'm going to be doing. Why would I tank when I have 3% damage reduction on everything, 3% max damage taken on everything? I don't need to hold block and just spam ads come to me and just spam vampire drain. Vampire drain heals me, gives me ult gen back, just put all my resources into magical recovery and I'm sorted. Like there's no reason to build a proper tank. I can just spam vampire drain and pull people on me in talons. It's really, really easy. So I think they're going to nerf that. I think they're going to nerf the really cheap ultimates and make them a bit more expensive. So things like Dawnbreaker and Crescent Sweep, for example, they're really cheap, really effective. And I think they're possibly going to go and then look at some class kits where the synergy is a bit too high. Templar, for example, and Dragonite again, their damage skills heal them. Punching Sweep heals you, Flame Lash heals you, Shattering Rock heals you, Power of the Light heals you. Basically everything on Templar heals you in some way, like that's the reality. And DK is very similar, so I think they're going to have to reflect upon that and go, yeah, they can do it really well, but Sorcerers can't. Wardens struggle with it. Necromancers can use the ring somewhat okay. So I think they might change some skills next patch, particularly ultimates, especially as they haven't given an ultimate pass in the past couple of years. So that's my take on the Oakensoul ring. Leave it as it is. Go after the ultimates that are really strong. So I know that's a bit controversial, and I know people hate nerfs, but there are some ultimates that are just so good that why aren't you using them? Like Leap, it's like 25-30k tooltip for like 100 ult. It's ridiculously cheap and it hits like a truck. And to be able to go leap into somebody, which will probably be a thing, leaping every 5-10 seconds, it's going to be mad. So that's my take on it. I'd love to know what your takes are, and if you haven't done so already, do check out Else's video. He's got some really cool takes and they are different to mine, so I'd like to know what you think of his as well. But I actually am going to wrap this video up here, so I want to say a big thanks to everyone who's watched this long, and thanks to anybody who has subscribed already, and a bigger thank you to all the people on Patreon who make these videos possible and get early access to them. But as I said, I'm going to catch you in the next video, so thanks for watching guys, take care, and bye!